What's going on, everybody? Fedor here from 3D Print SOS. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to look at something a little bit different. We are going to take a look at this amazing keyboard from Quomzy called the K3. Why did I agree to do a keyboard nonetheless on this channel? Well, actually, when I started 3D printing about 6 years ago now on my Ender 3, one of the things that I really wanted to do was design and work on my own keyboards. And for those original OG supporters, you guys might know some of my keyboards from Thingiverse. This was actually my first design right over here, and this was meant to be a full 3D printed hand-wired keyboard, a full RGB on the back, and this thing lights up and looks pretty much like a glowing diamond, and it is absolutely beautiful, and it was just a ton of fun to design. Shortly after making that one, I ended up making this. This is the SICK 68. This is actually still extremely popular to this day, which is also pretty exciting. And right here you can see a pretty cool keycap that I printed way back in the day on an old resin machine. It is the Crimson Stormtrooper from Star Wars, as well as some other basic keycaps that I 3D printed. But one of the things that I always wanted to do was to print my own keycaps. And back then, printers were just not quite good enough to make a good feeling keycap. You can obviously print some, they just never looked that good. And especially Legends are very small and precise. It was just tough. Nowadays though, that is taken care of, as you see a little bit later in the video, because 3D printers have gotten so much better in that time frame. But after this completely custom hand-wired keyboard, I decided to try something with a PCB, and my late design was the sandwich case. This is a 60% keyboard, so definitely not for everybody. Has a fun little custom keycap right over there. But yeah, this had RGB on the back, had RGB facing forward, and also had this RGB bar on the top that made it pretty unique, as well as these 3D printed feet. So a bunch of keyboards throughout the days in my history of 3D printing and 3D design. So when I saw this opportunity to check out what keyboards are nowadays, I figured it would be amazing. And actually, just about 2 years ago, I ended up building a pretty high-end keyboard for my office, and here's what that looks like. And I was super proud of this thing because, well, when you spend this kind of money to make a completely custom experience, picking out every single keycap, oiling every single one, finding every component, making sure everything goes together, it kind of makes you proud to type on it every day. I know that might be silly to some people, but for someone like me who literally lives behind the display and behind a keyboard, having a custom experience like that just makes you feel some kind of way, if that makes any sense, and gives you just a better experience through the mundane tasks like emails and writing descriptions for YouTube videos, for example. So this was really going to be something that I focused on having here at my studio so that I can edit videos on, things of that nature. And one of the tricks that this has up its sleeve is right here. This is a display. There's actually a button right on the side here, and you take off this little leather cover that it comes with it, and bam, we have a widescreen display, and this thing takes just keyboards to a whole nother level, in my opinion. I can now have my Discord here during live streams, my chat. I can put my music here while I'm working, my timeline when I'm editing video. This thing is incredible. If you want it out of the way, you kind of put it down, and it's awesome. It is a touchscreen display. Is it perfect? No, it's not. For example, it doesn't have multi-touch support, so you can click on things if your mouse is already in that area. Otherwise, it's not like a cell phone where you can just reach over to the screen and go up and down or pinch, none of that stuff. So that's a bit unfortunate, but just to have a display next to your keyboard, I think is really amazing. Think of it this way. If you have a Clipper machine or even your Bamboo Studio, you could have that running on your keyboard while you're working so that you can watch your display, or your printer, whether it's a remote or just behind you, whatever it might be, that can be right there on your keyboard, and it makes it so much more fun and just a unique experience there. One of the other things that it has is it actually has an M.2 slot on the back here, so you can have a drive with a bunch of hard drive space right when you plug this thing in. Has a bunch of I/O on the back, such as another USB-C cable, 2 USB A's, and most importantly an SD and a micro SD slot built in to the keyboard. So like I mentioned, this thing pretty much adds all of that just by being a slightly larger than normal keyboard, and that to me is really cool. Now, none of that would actually matter if the keyboard itself wasn't good. And after using this thing for a few weeks, I can say that the keyboard is actually really nice. One of the things I noticed when I took it apart was the PCB of the keyboard actually is floating, and it's held on by these rubber gaskets. So the feel of the keyboard is actually really, really nice. It does have linear switches in it. So if we go ahead and take off one of the keycaps here, we can see that it has Gateron yellows. So if I go ahead and take one of the switches out, you can see right over here, Gateron yellow, and it is a linear switch. What a linear switch means is there's no bump in it. It is just a nice, even motion, and these are very, very smooth. A little bit better than just regular reds, which is very nice. And I kind of like the spring tension in here over just these super soft, you know, basic reds. So one of the reasons why you can take the entire switch out is this thing is customizable. If you wanted to put in a tactile switch or a noisier switch like a blue switch, you could easily do that just by popping these off and putting a new set on, which is awesome. And obviously keycaps are a thing that you can do, and I'll show you what you can do with those in a sec. So for example, if you didn't like the linear keys, such as all these, so right here I have my keyboard tester, all of my red buttons are right over here, and as you can see, they're just, or you can hear rather, they're just nice linear motion. This one, for example, is lubricated and has a rubber bump stop, which is what I use at the office. These are my favorite set of reds. In the middle here, we have white ones, and these white keycaps just represent all of the brown switches that I have, and brown switches have a little bit of a tactile feedback, which is very nice for typing, admittedly. I like it more than linear switches. And then we have the blue switches, usually very loud. If you're going to do a lot of phone calls, you're going to be working with other people or somewhere where you have a coworker, you might not want to use blue switches, but they're so awesome to type on. These jades, man, if you had a keyboard full of jades, it'd be like typing on a machine gun. But man, does it feel amazing. This thing would really make a boring email really exciting to type. So if you wanted to, you could very easily swap those out just by pulling on them and putting a new set in, which I find amazing. So can it be better? Yeah, I think it can. So let's customize it a bit and see if we can take this thing to the next level. So to do that, I fired up my Bambu Lab machine with the AMS, and I took my carbon fiber plate right over here and I printed these keycaps. Let me show you the space bar and show you why I printed on a carbon fiber plate. On the bottom here, you can see the carbon fiber texture. So the tops of the keys are normal. The bottoms on the sides here have a carbon fiber texture. And the reason why I did that is you might have noticed this entire keyboard has little carbon fiber bits such as this right over here. So having those forward facing should be amazing. So that's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and swap these out, and then I'll see you guys here in just a few moments. Let's do it. How freaking cool this is. If you guys notice, the space bar is still stock, as well as the backspace and enter. I am printing a new set. I ended up making this just a hair too long, so I am printing a slightly shorter one, but there you get to see that texture, the carbon fiber texture blend in. And here I have it all plugged in, so you see I have it set to white, even though these are full RGB backlit keys with a whole bunch of settings. I have the side just pulsating in white. I think it's nice and clean this way. And let's take a look if we can see that front. There we go. If you could see right over here on these keys, that awesome texture is what I was looking for. Look how much better and cleaner this looks. I really love the profile of these flat keys. It makes it really, really interesting to type on and closer to my DSA caps that I have on some of my other boards. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna print these other keycaps so you guys will see it all complete by the time I do the glamour shots. Other than that, let's go to the conclusion. All right, so we got our keycaps on here, pending just a few more that are being printed as we speak. And here you see it all hooked up. And as you can see, you can very easily browse your favorite websites such as shop.3dprintsos, where you can grab your favorite merch, or even some things like these mats right over here, these work mats. I ended up doing the entire keyboard on one of these things, as you might have saw. So check that out if you guys are interested, as well as some cool mugs and just some awesome other t-shirts. But yeah, this keyboard is absolutely rad. I'm very excited about it, and I'm glad this thing is so customizable, because that's what this whole hobby is all about, customizing things. And I'm just stoked to be back in to keyboarding to some degree and doing some custom things. These keycaps are amazing. I'm going to have links down in the description for all of this stuff, as well as coupon codes that Clumsy did send me along with this keyboard. No money was exchanged hands. I'm not supposed to say anything specific. These are my own thoughts, and I just thought that it would be really interesting to try something modern, because I've been out of it for a little while, plus something that adds so much to just a regular keyboard. So if you guys are in the market, at least click down those affiliate links down below and check out some of the stuff. And if you're interested, like I said, there's coupon codes for $5 and $15, so go ahead and check those out. All right, everybody, I think that is going to be it. Hopefully this was a lot of fun for you guys, because this was super fun for me. I love 3D printing these keycaps, and just something that I couldn't do before, and now we could easily do with more modern machines and more modern 3D printing. All right, everybody, I'll see you all in the comments. Later.